So, hello, welcome to a new kind of mini-series catch-up, whatever you want to call it. So as you all know, I am doing a comparison to the Hachette and the Hong Kong models, Lancasters. But I have been very, very lucky to pick up a part-built Lancaster. So I need to begin this video by saying a big thank you to Mike Stratton for one of the most pleasant transactions I've ever done in my life. Let me explain. Due to I won't go into the issues, but due to a little setback regarding the Lancaster and the fact that Mike believes that this isn't such a good fitting, Mike, among others, have decided to stop doing their Lancaster. Now, meanwhile, I'm doing mine, and I took the opportunity to buy it off him, and with my Christmas break coming up, I'm going to seize the opportunity to do a catch-up. So by the time I get to Christmas, we'll be up to issue 22. Maybe I should explain first. So I have purchased the Hachette Lancaster up to, I believe, issue 34, but it's been built up to issue 21. So I actually want to change my the way that I do my Lancaster, and I'm actually going to build the Hachette one, but I cannot start building until I can only build from issue 22 because it's been built already. However, as all good modelers will do, I need to check it's done. I need to check what's done, what's not been done, do any repairs that may need doing. I have been advised that there are some issues with it, etc, etc. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a quick mini series dealing with 3 issues at a time. We'll go through what's been built. It will be a little bit difficult. For example, I'm doing issues 1 to 3 today, and as you will see, you're not going to be able to build all of it. Some of it's already been built, some of it you won't be able to see so well because obviously that will be obscured by later issues, but we will do our absolute best on it. Now by the time I get to issue 21, between that and I'll do a couple of double issues on the Hong Kong, by the time we get to Christmas we will start the new year. Both the Hong Kong and the Hachette will be on issue 22, and then I will now split the Hachette, the Hong Kong one into 3 videos. So I will release the Hachette one, then I'll release the Hong Kong, and then we'll have a 3rd video doing the comparison, which will split things down a bit so that if someone doesn't want to watch one bit, they don't have to. So this is what I've received. I won't tell you what I paid for it because I don't think that's relevant, but what I will tell you, it was cheap. And then what I've then done is I'm buying the issues on the shop price from the shop every week. Give me 1 second. So my apologies for that, I didn't have all the bits. So this is the parts built up to issue 21 in these boxes. So even to throw the boxes in I thought was fantastic. All of the magazines are in binders. I'm not going to show you the binders, but basically what we have is we have magazines in binders. Fantastic. We then also have all of the parts from issue 22. Look, he's even labelled them. How fantastic is that? Even though they do write the issue number on the box, if you know how to read the number, so we've got that should be 30, which it is. This one is 29, which it is. But as you see, he's written all the numbers. It comes with all the it doesn't come with the free gifts. I don't blame him for keeping those, but it does come with the pliers as well. So this is issue I think it's up to I'm sure it's up to 34. Yeah, so it's up to 34. And then what I'll then do every 3 weeks I will be buying the issues from the shop. I've actually just bought 5 issues. So there we have 35, 36, 37, 38, 39. The reason I'll be buying them every 3 weeks, this is my little top tip for you, which most of you probably have figured out already. If you buy anything off the shop, off the website, they charge postage. In order to get free postage, you need to spend £25 or more. Each issue is, I believe it's £10.99. It might even be £11.99, but let's go with £10.99. So as you can imagine, 2 issues isn't enough to get free postage. 3 issues just brings you over that £25 mark. So I bought 5 issues to do the catch up, and then once we get 3 issues, I'll buy the 3 issues at a time. So let's have a look. So I will bring up on the screen all of the instructions. However, a lot of them we're going to be skipping over. So let's have a look at the box. Now, I have been watching videos of this being built, but a lot of this isn't quite making sense to me because it's all in part form. But let's have a look at, well, first of all, we'll have a look at this because this is too big to fit into any box. Now, I can't tell at this stage if this is supposed to be attached to anything. I believe that's a little toilet, which I think is fantastic. And it does look nice. This is a metal construction. This will make sense in a future video. At this particular stage, I can't remember which one. So in this nice big box, we have got the Lancaster canopy. The only critique I can find, he has, you have to kind of look for it. He's popped this little blast screen in, and he's used super glue, and you can just see a little bit of clouding. This is what happens when you attach things with super glue. I'm not a fan of it. There are apparently ways of removing the clouding, but to be honest with you, look, when you look at it from, say, this distance, you can see it because you know what you're looking for. But if it bothers me that much, I could go out and buy replacement issues. Here we have the main front cockpit section. I thought this gun was supposed to be attached, but this is one of the reasons why I want to have a better look at it. So we have the front gun on there. We've got all these wires, and this is exactly why I want to go through the magazine so that I can start to make head and tail of it. I may be able to disassemble some of it so that I can reassemble it, but it's looking pretty sweet. What my main gripe with it is, I really don't like those seat belts. They're too bright. I think they probably are a realistic colour, but they just look they stick out because they're so bright, and I just think they're way too thick. But that seat is in quite loose. Perhaps I could remove the seat and do so. I don't know. I do have some seat belts which I can use. We have what looks like a light here. I think this is the range light for the dam buster bomb. So that's quite loose. So I'll have a little look at that. It doesn't move if you don't touch it. We have the propeller, which comes, I believe that's the one that comes with issue 1. I would guess that this is the wing support. I'm guessing that's going there to start to sort of support the wings. We have the screws attached to it, so we can't lose those. And we have this section, which I think is going to go there. It certainly makes sense that it's going to go there. So does that then mean that the wing support is going to go in on there? So I think, if memory serves me right, he did actually break this down a little bit just to make the transportation a little bit easier. But that's the main bulk section that everyone's been working on. I wasn't happy that this has been attached. In fact, it's got bent, and this is exactly the reason why some people are saying don't attach it. If I could find some way to remove that without damaging it, I would. But saying that, you know, I tend to put my models on the shelf, even though I've got cats. So this, don't criticize this. If it may meant to be like that. It may be because we've not finished building it. You know my new motto for 2024, trust the process. So that's that section done. Then we have a box of small parts, which is why I love this box. And we have, and I can't really make, some of these I can tell what they are, but on the whole, we have a battery test box, we have the motor for issue 1, and then we have another engine there by the looks of it, and I think that's the later issue. And we have various little bits and bobs. I think the guns he's replaced, so it looks like we have the old guns. This looks like a barrel, because I think he said that he damaged the guns and then glued them back on, then realised they were fibre optic, so he knew he had to replace them. I think we have the front. That looks beautiful, doesn't it? That's the front. And all these various small parts. So obviously we need to sort of get this going, find out where we're up to, what's being put away for a later issue, and what's being we've got a couple of side panels there, look, he's done that very well actually. In fact, it looks like he's gone with the, what I'm calling the building with the boys method. If it doesn't need gluing, don't glue it. And I think these windows don't need gluing. And then there's a panel there with some windows in it. It does actually look pretty nice. And we've even got the spare screws. I mean, guys, a lot of people don't keep the spare screws. Mike did. And one thing that I am very happy with is we've got the little supports for the propellers, so that it helps you make the propellers. So what we need to do now is go through the issues, see what needs doing, what's fine, what's not fine, what needs fixing. So we're going to begin with issue 1. Okay, so I do want to disassemble this as little as I can get away with, but I do also want to get into that cockpit. I started to have a look at stage 1, and a lot of us are in there, and I really can't get to it. So I've had a quick look on the magazines. I'm looking for bits that I want to disassemble, and I've gone as far as issue 13, and I can see that this is screwed in. But there's a cover on it, so I'm going to try and remove the cover, because I can see that it's been pushed in with a peg. So I've got one of these little mobile phone screen removers. Anyone who buys a screwdriver set will generally have one of these, and I like it because it's plastic. And I'm just going to try and, because I don't exactly know where the pegs are. Oh, there we go, that's come out. So that's easy enough. Now I don't want to lose it, so I've been a little bit sad, and I'm making some bags, and these bags have got labels on them, so I know that's part 4G. If I put any other parts in, I'll put extra labels in. Now these, I believe, are attached. Yes, so these are screwed in. That's interesting. I can see a screw hole, and I can see this wants to come apart now, but I'm just trying to see how it's attached. I don't want to yank at it, because that would be a disaster, but I can see from stage 5, check, so this one is stage 5. Take the port nose fuselage assembly from issue 1, check how it fits, note that light 4P has to be fitted into the hole. Pegs on the inside fit into the holes on the framing. So we're just trying to remove the pegs. So this is not as easy as you would first think. Oh, it's really, it's in there quite firm on this side. Oh, that one's coming. That's coming. If I can get this one off, maybe that will tell me how the other side goes in. There we go, that's off. So I'm going to assume that this is going in. There's a peg round about there. Of course, the big question now is, have I made it really hard to get it back on? Let's see if I can use my little splodger. What do you call it? Spodger? Right. I think the point of contact is in there. Because the two things I don't want to do is scratch it and break it. Yep, I can see it. I can see where the post is. So what I want to do is get something quite soft that I can poke through there. I'm using the back of a paintbrush here, but right. So that's the point I want to remove it. Now, if I end up damaging this little, I'm going to call it a guitar pick. That's in there really tight. Oh, that's coming. That's loosened it a bit. So Mike, you are actually a really good modeler because you've put that in there really tight. I think you've just got to ease it out gently. See why I don't like taking them apart. It's move that gun to one side. Okay, that's coming. That's a coming. Just got to tease it out gently. Once you know where the posts are, it's so much easier to deal with. So now I can actually see some of the stages in there. Actually, it's going to make it a lot easier because I don't want to see that little sticky out bit. I think there was a piece on there that's obviously come off. So let's have a look at stage 1. So stage 1 says take the upper switch box 01L and check how the tab on the back fits into a slot in the framing A01A. Use a cocktail stick to apply a little super glue to the tab and fix in place. So I think the part in question, do you like my pointy stick guys? This is one of the sticks that I bought for the Eddie Stobart, and I've just trimmed off the end, and I think that's going to make a good pointy stick. I might paint it yellow because I'm actually quite proud of that. So I think the part in question is there. What a surprise to see you, Mr. Shadow. So I think the part in question is there. So stage 2, take the electrical distribution box 1I. I'll just call them I from now on, unless they're a different stage. I'll just refer to them by the letter. So take the electrical distribution box I and the upper switch box N and check how the tabs on the back fit into openings in the framing A. Apply a little super glue to the tabs and fix in place. So I think the parts in question are there. Now mine has got silver on it. There's also a part there, but in the magazine it looks like it hasn't. But I think it's these two parts here, and it's very difficult when I've got a cat giving me attention because they want breakfast, but they're not getting breakfast because it's 20 to 1 in the morning. Okay, so the next step is stage 4 and stage 5. Let's just do stage 4. Take the port nose fuselage H and check how the window J fits into the opening. Apply a little super glue to outer edge of the window, taking care not to get any glue on the central part. Glue in place as shown. So the part in question, I believe, is this one, and there is the window glued in place. Nice job done there. And then stage 5, take the pitot tube head M, check how it fits in the recess on the outside of the port nose fuselage H, glue in place. And that is the piece there. Now that would be a no for me, definitely would not do that myself, but it's done, so we have to deal with it. That's in place. So stage, I'm just going to run through the stages here because I'm not going to disassemble them. So stage 6, take the 3 propeller blades D and the 3 propeller assembly blocks G. Note that there is a square tab on one side of the neck of each blade. These should face upwards. Fit the tips of the propellers into the recesses in the blocks as indicated. The blocks hold the propellers at the correct angle. Stage 7, keep the blades D in the assembly blocks. Fit the hubs into the propeller back plate 1B. The hubs fit in recesses in the back plate, yellow arrows, so that the plastic cogs engage with the cog at the centre of part B. Ensure that the blocks are flat on your work surface when you have fitted the propeller blades. Stage 8, take the propeller front plate E and fit it on top of the back plate B so that the hubs of the propeller blades D are enclosed. Fix in place with a 2x6mm KB screw AP. Then stage 9, take the propeller dome K and fit it onto the propeller front plate E. 3 pegs on part K fit into the holes in part E. This is a push fit connection. Then stage 10, fit the propeller spinner C on top of the assembly. 3 recesses in part C fit over the shaped edges of part 1E next to the roots of the 3 propellers D. Stage 11, remove the propeller assembly from the 3 blocks. The propeller blades are now held at the correct angle and the blocks G are no longer needed for this part of the assembly. They will be needed when you come to assemble the next propeller. Stage 12, turn the assembly over and fix the propeller back plate C securely using 3 2x4mm KM screws AM as indicated. Then stage 13, the shaft of the motor D fits into the socket in the back of the propeller B. You can fit 2 AAA batteries or AAA batteries. To test the motor, holding the motor steady, plug the connector on the end of the circuit O into the socket J1 on the circuit board. So that is basically telling us to fit the propeller. So we are going to need 1 propeller. We are going to need the test box, and we're going to need a wire. So 1 wire, 1 motor, 1 test box. So we have 2 batteries. I recommend using rechargeable batteries, although rechargeable batteries tend to give you less power output, but they usually give you enough anyway, but they throwaway batteries give you more output and they're more damaging to the environment. So all those people who complain that we are not environmentally friendly, we are. So there is connector J1 there. There's the motor in my hand. I've placed the there's a little cog on the end of the motor. If you bought a motor you wouldn't get that cog, so that's a cog on top, and that fits very nicely into there. I don't want to keep putting on and off all the time. My cats are destroying my house. Why are you doing this to me, Missy? And then what we're going to do is we're going to take this connector. This is called a JST, Japanese solderless terminal, and they're usually crimped into place. Now if you look into the circuit board, quite often what will happen with these connectors, you'll see, can we get a focus please? So you'll see a different side terminal. Sometimes you can't, they'll have a little side little bit and you can't put it in the wrong way, but I think the easiest way to look at it, we're looking at, let's get the pointy stick. So we're looking at that terminal there, and you'll see there's two holes, two copper pointy bits, and you'll see that they're off center. Okay, you'll see they're a little bit higher. And if you then look at this terminal, you will see there's two holes, and those holes by coincidence are off center. So we know that they need to be higher up, so we'll plug it in this way, and you should therefore have no problems. And in it goes, and there is our propeller, and that works absolutely fine. Now it's quite nice to have this in my hand, because when I first saw this, my first thought was, oh, be careful. Let's just put that behind. Let's see if I can get that behind something darker. Yeah, you can just make out the yellow, but you need that dark background. So my first thought was, be careful, you'll have someone's finger off with that. But I've had a little look, it's not that powerful, look. I mean, that did hurt, I could feel it, but it's not so powerful it'll have your finger off. So I'm really glad to have this in my hand. Obviously you don't want little 3-4 year olds touching it while it's spinning, it will hurt them. I'm also a little bit concerned about the balance. I have seen people on Facebook and it looks quite oddly balanced. There are ways around that, but this one seems to be okay. Can you see that spinner doesn't appear to be moving as it rotates? So I'm quite happy with that. It's quite interesting because as you turn it you can feel the wind resistance. It's kind of resisting. Yeah, don't poke it down, guys. Don't point it down because it's going to fall off. Hopefully it won't come to that. Yeah, so there you go, guys. I am happy enough with that. Now when you come to pull these terminals out, make sure you grip both sides. Where this terminal is very hard because this motor's spinning, you'll see a little gap there between the terminal box and the actual plug. You want to try and get in there. I'm okay because I've got fingernails, but just make sure you apply even pressure both sides and you can pull it out, and that should come to a stop. This is actually quite a good motor. See how much that's still turning even though there's no power. So that means there's very little friction on the motor, so I am rather happy with that. So yes, when you pull it out, don't ever pull it by the wire. Think about it, it's a JST, which means Japanese solderless terminal, which means that they're not soldered in, they're crimped in. So they're only actually held in by how hard they're crimped in. So that means that there isn't, it is quite tough, but it's not super tough. Right guys, so that is issue 1 complete. I'm happy. Let's move on to issue 2. Okay, so on to section 2. Now you will see that the Lancaster looks completely different. What actually happened, as I was having a little look at it, I was trying to get this gun turret a little bit better, and I just thought, you know how it goes, you go, oh, see if I can just remove this bit, oh, just see if I can remove that bit. One thing led to another. It practically fell apart, not in a bad way. It was like you undo a couple of screws and it's just all, and here it all is. So I've split it all down into smaller sections. So I think in future videos we're going to be able to look. That's what it's now turned into. I think we are going to be able to get a much better look at it. But what we are focusing on now, I daren't undo this gun turret any further than this. The only thing I'm going to be able to assemble is this bit, obviously. So this is what we're going to end up with. So let me go through the instructions and then I'll give you another look at it. So section 1, remember that I'm not going to say the number if it's that part. So take the side sections K, and they've got I in brackets. Right, so let's go to the before you begin. The parts supplied in this issues are small, so take your time to identify them carefully and fit them according to the instructions. We suggest that you do a dry run, or what I call a dry fit, assembling the parts up to step 3 before you glue the parts together. The plastic parts should be glued together using very small amounts of super glue. We suggest that you place a few drops of glue on an old saucer or similar. Don't use a saucer, use the packaging material that comes with the magazine. And then dip the tip of a cocktail stick into the glue and apply it to the pegs or the sockets as described in the instructions. You may find that some parts are a very tight fit. This is due to small amounts of flash from the moulding process or excess paint applied to ensure full coverage. Check the illustrations carefully and always test the fit before you apply any glue. If you have any problems with the fit, use a fine file to remove any plastic or paint that is preventing a proper fit. Before you fit parts in step 1 together, check that there is a rectangular recess in front of the upright lever in parts 02K brackets L and R and L arrow. Use a flat file to remove any flash from this point. You may also need to enlarge the D-shaped sockets. Right, so that explains it to me. So the part number has been listed as brackets L or brackets R. So take the side sections K, which is left and right, the gun sight S and the air gunner's seat H. Noting the orientation, check the fit of the D-shaped pegs on the sides of parts S and H. In the sockets in part K, as indicated, the pegs fit into the shaped outer holes. When you are happy with the fit, apply a tiny drop of super glue to each of the pegs using a cocktail stick or similar and fix in place. Hold the structure flat on your work surface while the glue dries to ensure it remains square. So guys, if you're building this and you think, oh god, this is hard, I've got this to come on the Hong Kong. So stage 2, take the base of the turret Q, fit the rectangular pegs on the sides of parts K, left and right, into the rectangular recesses in the base of the turret Q. The tops of the rectangular pegs should be level with the surface of part Q as shown below, fixed in place with a little super glue. Stage 3, turn the assembly upside down, take the ammunition box as U. The pairs of pegs on these parts fit into the smaller circular holes in part K. You may need to file down the top of the part U or remove the pegs to ensure a good fit. Glue the pegs in place and hold the assembly firmly while the glue dries. Stage 4, the 2 spent cartridge collection bags W fit onto the 2 raised oval pegs on the underside of part Q. Glue the bags in place. Stage 5, turn the assembly the right way up again, take the two control levers. G, check how the D-shaped pegs fit into the holes on either side of the gun sight. Apply a little super glue to the pegs and glue in place. Glue the small control lever L in place beside the seat H. Stage 6, this shows the turret assembly with the control levers fixed in place. Stage 7, take the two machine guns B left and right and use the pivot pin V to fix each of the glue gun brackets R left and right to the outside of each of the machine guns as indicated. Note the orientation of the guns with the semicircular ridges at the bottom of the guns. Do not use any glue as the machine guns need to be able to pivot up and down. Check that the gun muzzles are clear of paint and removed with a file or emery board if necessary. Note, it will take time to fit the machine guns in the following steps. Work carefully until you are happy with the fit. Stage 8. Take the ammunition feed ducts N and check the fit of the pegs on the back of the ducts into the holes in the gun brackets as indicated. If necessary, use a file to enlarge the hole. Apply a little glue to the pegs to fix them in place. Stage 9. There are 17 stages, by the way. Stage 9. Take the spent cartridge chutes M left and right and fit them into the sockets in front of the gun sight S. The sockets are shaped to help you fit the chutes the right way round. Stage 10. Take the two machine gun assemblies, fit the cables between the gun sight and the arms S and the arms on the turret side sections K left and right. Then thread the ends through the hole in part Q. With the guns in front of the turret assembly, ease the rear ends of the guns back through the assembly so that the guns sit between the gun sight S and the arms on the turret side sections K left and right. Identify 4 rectangular recesses where the gun brackets will fit. Stage 11, the rectangular pegs on the base of the gun brackets R left and right fit into the rectangular recesses in part Q. If the recesses are not large enough, file the pegs down. The ends of the gun sight S fit into the recesses in the top of the gun brackets. You may need to bend the ends of the gun sight for a good fit. When you are happy with the fit, glue the pegs in place. Bend the cables at the rear of the machine guns downwards so they do not foul on the back part Q. Stage 12. Take the turret support F. Check how it fits on the base of the turret Q. The pegs on the main part of the support fit into the holes in the base as indicated. The two front supports rest on the surface of part Q. Glue the pegs in place. 13. Fit the inner rear wall of the turret J to the back of the turret floor Q. The 3 rectangular pegs at the back fit into the recess J. You do not need to glue the part in place. 14. Fit the gun turret canopy A into the gun turret frame. Ensure that all the struts on the frame fit into the recesses in the canopy. It is a tight fit, so adjust it until it snaps into place. 15. Fit the interior of the gun turret assembly into the gun turret canopy so that the guns B left and right fit through the slots in the canopy. The rim of the rear wall of the turret fits against the gun turret C. Glue the edge of the canopy frame C to the rim of the rear wall to J. Stage 16. Fit the underside of the gun turret O onto the underside of the gun turret assembly. Ensure that you thread the connectors and cables B left and right through the large hole O. Do not glue as the turret needs to swivel. And then 17, which looks like, very similar to stage 13. Fit the outer rear wall of the gun turret I onto the back of the assembly. 4 pegs on the base of part I fit into the small holes in part O. You do not need to use any glue. And then completed work. The gun turret has been assembled. Instructions for the fuselage details and frame are contingent in the next issue. The nose blister section E will be fitted in a future issue. Store the parts carefully until they are needed. So let's have a look at this. So this is what we've got. Let me just check my magazine. Right, so this is actually, looks like it's not part of, this is, right, yeah, this is what we've got. So what you should end up with is this threaded through there, and this goes into there, but not, there we go. So that's what we've ended up with. We've got this turret. Now, my guns do not move, and I have tested this on the circuit board. Nothing happens when I plug them in. I noticed that we've got a connector there. Let me just double check. I don't know if I've checked this one. So I'm guessing, it hasn't told us to check them. Nothing's happening. Whether that's meant to do that, I don't know. It might be a case of wait till later. So, oh, actually saying that, the battery wasn't in properly. Yeah, I'm getting nothing from that. So, but it hasn't told us to do anything with it. So it could be a case of be patient. So, but these guns aren't going to move. It's not a biggie for me. I can't get another issue 2 because the shop is sold out. Whether we're going to get any in the future, I don't know. But that is stage 2 complete. That needs to be popped somewhere safe. And then let's move on to the last issue of this video, which will be stage 3. Okay, so we are on stage 3 now, and stage 3 is the cockpit floor and canopy. So let's bring up the instructions and I can do a catch up. I'll do this in 2 sections because they've done it in 2 sections. So stage 1, take the bomb aimer's control X, 2X, and check how it fits on the inside of the starboard front frame 2D, sorry. A tab on the box back of part 2X fits into a slot in part 2D. When you are happy with the fit, apply a little super glue to the tab and fix in place. So let's have a look at that. So these are going to be the parts I got from stage 13. I've called it stage 13 because that's when it's assembled onto the actual fuselage, and we are dealing with this piece here. So we have the box there. Let's get the pointy stick out. So it's this piece there is going on to this framework. So nice simple part. So step 2, check how the window 2Y fits into the opening of the fuselage 2P. Pegs on the fuselage fit into the holes in the window. If necessary, apply a little super glue to fix the window in place, taking care not to get any glue on the center of the window. So the part in question is this one. Quite a nice little part, and there is the window in place. So step 3, identify the slight recess on the starboard front fuselage 2P, where the VHF whip aerial 2T is fitted. Check the fit, then apply a little glue to the end of part 2T using a cocktail stick and fix the whip aerial in place. So this is where my second issue comes into play, and that is, why are we attaching small pieces to the outside? So I'm going to have to get my tweezers, and I'm going to have to get my reverse tweezers, because this is a pingy piece, as I'd like to call it. So this is the VHF whip aerial, and where that blob of super glue is, there is where it's fitted, and it will go in place there like so. So I am not going to attach it until the very end. So this is going to go in its own special little bag. I might even label it. Sorry, I bought myself a load of bags because I find them very handy for modelling. So let me take a cut while I make the label. Okay, so there's my little bag with the label on it. Part 2T, stage 3, that's the stage we put it on, VHF whip aerial, and that can go in place like that. And this is exactly how I want my parts done. So all of these unlabeled parts I know that I've not come to yet, and if they're being stored for later, they're going to go into the bag. Might turn out the bags are excessive, because remember, these parts that we haven't dealt with yet, we haven't got them yet. So when we have completed it, we will end up with something that looks like this and this, which obviously, no, not that one, this one, and this obviously has should have the aerial on it, but these are the two pieces that we complete in that stage. So on to the rest. Now they do start the stages from stage 1 again. They forgot to tell us that this is the canopy. Sometimes they have a little title. So stage 1, fit the canopy 3F into the canopy frame C as indicated. Push the canopy firmly in place until all the struts on the frame fit into the channels in the canopy below. This assembly does not require skill but a bit of patience, or as I've seen some people building, a lot of patience. Work from one side to the other, firmly pressing all the struts on the frame into the recesses in the canopy. Stage 2. Take the observer's blisters, D and E. Check how they fit into the openings on the canopy frame F and C. The bulges in part D and E face outwards, and the tapered end of the bulges point towards the rear of the canopy. Very carefully apply a tiny drop of glue to the edge of the canopy openings and fix the blisters in place. Glue causes the plastic to mist, so please make sure you don't get any glue on the main part of the blisters or the canopy. Stage 3. Fit the Astrodome G into the opening between the canopy F and the canopy frame C, so that the screw holes on the part G is aligned with the socket on part C. Fix in place with a BP screw as indicated. Stage 4. Fit the upper fuselage nose B against the front of the canopy frame C, so that the screw hole in the canopy F is aligned with the socket in part 3B. Fix in place with a BP screw. And what you should end up with is something that looks like this and this. Now obviously there are parts on here that have been assembled for later stages, but that is what you're going to end up with. So this is stage 3 complete, and we combine that with this piece of framework. I believe we've got another piece of framework, and we've got 2 fronts to go with it. And that is the end of stage 3. I'm sorry that it wasn't exciting and there wasn't a lot of building, but it looks like we will get some building done. Oh, we've got this as well. But it looks like we will get some building done in the next issues. So hope you've enjoyed that catch up. Next week we will be dealing with issues 4 to issue 6, and then hopefully by Christmas we'll have fully caught up, and yes, so and then we'll be able to get into it, doing it properly. So take care guys, and I hope to catch you next week.